But
well, no, we're not getting Dame, by the way, if that's what we're talking about.
No, and I think this is where the conversation came in, right? Because a lot of people, not to say that we're getting Dame, but to me, you're asking yourself, are you in a bad position because you gave away the draft capital, you gave away the assets that could have netted you Dame Lillard. You now no longer have that in your system because you made the trade for Vooch, which I think going to get Vooch is still a good trade, but you took yourself out of position to go get a player of that ilk, of that standard, that high standard, without basically gutting your team. Because now, if you're talking about a trade, without getting a top 4 pick, you're basically like, all right, well, if I want Dame Lillard, I got to send you Zach LaVine. And that defeats the purpose of making a trade because you're trying to put together yourself a big three. So did the trade put the Bulls in a bad position to go after a disgruntled free agent or a disgruntled superstar, which, let's be honest, we've seen every single year now?
Yo, no, it didn't. And by the way, I wouldn't want Dame with Zach. I would want CJ McCollum.
See, I'm completely on the opposite side of that. I'm completely on the opposite side.
If you get Dame, you have to fight for who the alpha is. And guess what? If Dame comes to Chicago, it's Dame's time. There's no way you sit there and say Zach and him coexist as 1A, 1B.
I can't say that because here's the thing. If you get Dame here, that's a problem you worry about when you get Dame here. You know what I'm saying? If you get Dame here and all of a sudden it's Dame, Zach, and Vooch and they can't coexist, okay.
You don't need a Dame. You don't need a Dame. You need someone like CJ.
I don't want CJ because CJ's always hurt. CJ's never not hurt. It's just I don't want to bring in a guy who's going to have more injury issues than we already have. And we've had a ton of injury issues with the guys we've already had in the building. Now, COVID taking on a little bit different of a scenario. But to me, when I'm looking at this and chat, y'all let me know as well. And make sure y'all liking the video up, man. Make sure y'all like that video. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. When I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about a player who, I mean, Dame is a game-changing player in a Western Conference on a team where he literally gets no help when the playoffs start.
I have to sit there and disagree on something. Dame is not always hurt. I mean, CJ is not always hurt. Out of the last, 6 seasons, this would be the first season in which, majority of the season he was hurt. But from 2015 to 2020, he's played 90% of the season. So he's been there.
This season, but I'm pretty sure in the previous couple of playoffs,
he played 80 games in 15, 80 games in 16, 81 in 17.
You talking about in the playoffs?
I mean, in the playoffs, he was there.
That's what I'm saying. But we've seen that where he hasn't been there when Dame is needed the most. CJ McCollum's been another player who's been the avatar. When the world needed him most, he wasn't there. He vanished. And not to say play-wise, he's not Chris Middleton on that front, but I'm talking about just health-wise. And you hate to see it, but to me, why get a player that is going to be in that Kyrie Irving? And here, hey, let's bring it back to the original conversation. Even talking about that, we're not in a position to get CJ either, y'all. We're not in a position to get CJ. We're not in a position to get those big name guys right now. And without doing a Brooklyn Nets move where, yes, the Bulls are going to have more money on the book. But when we're talking about, I mean, Dame Lillard's going from $39 million to $44 million next year. He's one of the highest paid players in sports in general, but in the NBA. And he well-deserved. I think it's absolutely well-deserved. I think Dame's on a team where he's literally like, I am going to put y'all on my back and carry y'all as far as I can. It just doesn't always end up being that far. And there go the lights. We are having a great day production-wise, y'all. We're killing it. But they can still hear us. That's all that matter. I mean, what do you think? What do you think though?
So I'm a ask both y'all this. Does get and I'm gonna go with your point first, P Kid. Do you think that getting CJ moves the needle forward? Like what I'm asking is, does this accelerate the process? Like, does Zach, Vooch, and CJ get you a chip?
Yes.
Depends on, to me, none of it to me is about, and we want to know you guys' opinion as well. Call into the show 855-908-5668, 855-908-5668. We'd love to hear from you guys as well.
I'm gonna tell you why it does. I'm gonna tell you why it does.
Go ahead.
I do got a point. I just want to add.
No, I get you. I'll tell you why it does. What is Trailblazers' problem right now? They get beat on the inside. They get beat on the inside a lot. Nurkic did not do much. Nurkic, hey, listen, if you want to talk about wasted money and people who don't show up, Nurk don't show up.
Let's just say the Blazers team, and let's be real, how Terry Scott's coached that team a lot, which is why he's not there anymore.
Exactly. But listen, they get beat on the inside a lot. That's how Denver picked them apart. If you really looked at it, there's no way in the world Denver should have beat that team. No way in the world. What was clicking for him was all the perimeter shooting. What didn't click for him is anything in the inside. And where did what's the name pick them apart? On the inside. They get picked apart on the inside every time. Every team that's above 500, big men dominated Portland.
I would challenge that, because in the game where Dame had his best game, if we're going to talk about a dominating game, Dame going off for 55, ridiculous numbers. Literally, what was it, 7 threes before the half was over? Like, wild, dog. Like, this man was on fire. But it wasn't Vooch it wasn't Jokic per se that was dominating him. It was the fact that Jokic was finding Michael Porter Jr. wide open on the wing. It was the fact that.
But why? Because you had to run the double at him, because your big man isn't serviceable enough to guard him one-on-one.
No, that I agree with, but I think that's just, when you have a player that's like us going, even when we were evaluating Wendell, we were like, Wendell got killed by Jokic, got killed by Embiid, and then we was like, so did everybody else though.
Yeah, I mean, that's
and even the big man about bringing in who slowed them down?
Nurkic did not get bodied by Embiid the way he got bodied by Jokic. He just did.
Jokic does too much. That's what it is. Embiid, you know what you get. You're going to go at me. You're going to go at me.
Listen, for whatever reason, you can pull it up. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I hold that L. But I looked it up not too long ago, because I was like, hey, Jokic won MVP, but did he really deserve it compared to what Embiid can do? And when I looked at some of the matchups, I was like, yeah, he absolutely deserved that one, because he was getting rid of people. And so I'm like, hey, I can't just look at what Embiid did against Chicago, because he demolished us. But, but that was just one good game. Jokic destroyed the league. And it was like, yeah, there was no ifs, ands, and buts about that. So realistically, I'm saying you put Vooch on Portland, that's a championship team. I really think that if you get a CJ here, you have a 6'6" guard. You have your big three right there, and we have now put together nice packages for our bench. I think we could go the distance if you would put that type of player there, because we really just need some consistent scoring when Zach is not in the game.
Facts.
And that's what we haven't had.
And I agree with that. I just think that. And it's kind of, I'm gonna be real with you. I love the Vooch trade. I think that you literally got rid of, we have nothing inside, to all of a sudden, not only do we have somebody dominant inside, we have somebody that can go at the other team's best big man. We have somebody that has gone toe to toe with Embiid and gave him some work back. Might not have stopped him, but gave him some work back. We have somebody that's a threat that you have to pay attention to in there. And that's why I really love the trade, and it pushes the Bulls timeline up, which is why we're even having this conversation. But it does take you out of a lot of those bigger name guys with those bigger contracts attached to them that you might be able to go after in free agency or in the offseason via trade, and it got rid of a lot of your capital that you could have used via trade.
So I'm just out of mindset. So who? Before I get into my point, who's your third guy to pair next to pair next to Zach and Vooch?
My third guy to pair next to Zach and Vooch, I think if you're a team where the Bulls are at right now, you went and got Vooch because you're hoping that your stars take that, your young guys take that step to being a star, that Kawhi Leonard step that he took when, I mean, let's be real, the Kawhi Leonard in the championship season was just a defender. He was literally just go out there and guard Bron and do what you can do. You're hoping they take a step towards stardom in the right direction. But if you're going to make a move for a guy, because you've got two guys, what do we talk about? Vooch is 30.
Vooch is 31.
31, and Zach is 27. Your timeline is now. So you also have to have that backup plan, which is why I'm saying you don't have the ability to go get a third. There's a bunch of names. I'm not here. This is the reason I didn't even do a Dame video on the chat. T-Live, what's good, my boy? This is the reason I didn't do a Dame video on the chat, because to me, I'm not going to put a video out on a scenario that is not likely to happen. I try not to. You know, there's some videos where it's like, well, this could happen. It's a long shot, but we can see it. To me, Dame is a no-brainer that it's not happening. So that's the reason I didn't even do a Dame video. Yeah. I don't think Dame's coming to Chicago. But the thing that Dame being a free agent showed me was that what if Dame Lillard came out today and said, I want to play for the Bulls? I want to go to the Chicago Bulls because I've always wanted to play there. It's Michael Jordan's home. Let's do it. Let's get a deal done. Dame has a $44 million contract coming up next season. You have no way to make that happen. You have no capital to send back. You have no, and again, I want y'all to understand, I'm good with the Vooch trade. I like it. I like that the trade was made. But if a player like that says that, you're now not in a position to go after him. It honestly reminds me a little bit of when the big three wanted to come here, but we didn't have money. We didn't have room to clear Chris Bosh. Now, granted, Garpax was like, we're not getting rid of Luol Deng. Shut up. But can't get rid of Luol Deng. I love him. You tore his knees up.
I'll say this, though. Creative accounting at its best, it would get done if Dame wanted to come here. It wouldn't get done with the main pieces that we have. And so it would take a lot of restructuring for that to happen, for it to be it would be to the point where it wouldn't even be feasible. And so, I mean, I guess that's ultimately what you're saying.
It's worth it.
You know, it wouldn't even be worth it. We gut this team in so many different ways to make that work from but I will say this. I wasn't even looking, like when I thought about making a video, Dame wasn't even on my radar.